Hey everybody, this is Julie, the main stamper. I'm an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up, and I'm back with another video in my series called Mondays Are Hard, Stamping Shouldn't Be. In my Monday series, I like to explore simple, easy, quick cards. Whether your Monday's hectic or not, sometimes you just want something that's super easy. And today, I am diving into the line of Slimline kind of cards. So this is a new card style. It's very popular right now, and this is my first attempt at making a Slimline card. So I wanted to try it out and see what all the craze was about. And I like that the Slimline cards will fit into a regular business size envelope. So this is a regular business size envelope. I've decorated it with my little zebra as well, which matches my theme today, which is the Zany zebras. So we're using the Zany zebras stamp set. And there are 3 adorable little zebras in this stamp set. They look like they've been pencil sketched or doodled a little bit. They're really cute, super sweet, and just black and white like I'm using them today. They can be colored, or you can add color to them if you want to. But the color from our card is actually going to come from scraps of colored cardstock. So we're just going to use scraps today for the colors, and other than that, we are using black and white cardstock. So black and white to match our zebras, a little bit of scrap paper to create that fun color look. So again, we've got the 1 stamp set, Zany Zebras. We've got 1 ink pad, Memento. We've got a little bit of cardstock, and we're creating a really cute, really sweet card. Whether you're giving this to someone that's young or young at heart, I think the zebras are adorable. If you don't have zebras, substitute in something else. Do you have cats or dogs? Do you have ponies? Do you have cows? Do you have sheep? Anything that's fun. I think barnyard critters would be really sweet on this card. But if you're looking for something elegant, make sure you check my blog. I did a really stepped up version of a fall card that has some gold embossing and some beautiful die cuts. So I will show you on my blog other ways that you can use the same recipe and get a fantastic card. But for today, we are creating super quick, super simple, easy, and we're going to do the zebras. So follow me, let's get stamping. Okay, so to get started, we're going to talk a little bit about our cardstock base first. So a basic piece of cardstock is going to be 8.5 by 11. Most of you have those pieces to start with. And for your A2 size card, we typically cut it right in half and create 2 card bases. Today we need our card base to be 8.5 by 7. So we already have an 8.5 inch side, and we're going to take 4 inches off of it to get that 7 inches. So 11 minus 4 is 7. We want 7, so we're taking off 4. So I'm just going to put it in my paper trimmer and cut away 4 inches just like that. Set that aside, we don't need it. So this is now our 8.5 by 7 card base. So while it's still in our trimmer, if you have a trimmer that has a cutting blade and a scoring blade, you can take that 7-inch width and put your cardstock at 3.5 inches and then score it. So the lighter blade here on my trimmer is the scoring blade. So I've just scored my paper in half, and this is our basic Slimline card base. So now I'm just going to go ahead and complete my fold here, and I'm going to take my bone folder and burnish the edges, and then I'm going to flip it around and do the same thing again. So I like to get that really nice clean line for my card base, and this is the basic Slimline card right here. So this is our base, and we have 2 pieces of Whisper White cardstock. Because this is such a dark card base, I like to put, well, obviously we're putting 1 on the outside, but I also like to put 1 on the inside. So I'm going to go ahead and set all of this aside. We don't need that right now. We're going to actually start off with our zebras and our Memento ink. So we've got the 3 zebras here from the Zany Zebra stamp set. And we've got 3 pieces of Whisper White cardstock, and I'm going to bring the card back in here so you can kind of see that again. So we're going to stamp 1 of each zebra onto our Whisper White cardstock. So what you want to keep in mind is that these are not perfectly square, they're actually rectangles. So the longer side is going to be the up and down part of this. So make sure you're not stamping them in the wrong orientation. So I'm just going to go ahead and stamp 1 zebra in the middle of each square. So there's 1 zebra there. And you could, if you're creating this card with the zebras, you could change up, you know, whichever zebra you want in the middle, which one you want to be on the left or the right. There's that guy, and we've got 1 more. And these zebras, I just think they're so adorable. Lots of good stuff being put out there with these cute little zebras. And I'm stamping them just right into the middle with black ink on white cardstock. And there are my little zebras. Super simple right there, right? While I've got this out, and I should keep the memento out because really that's the only color we're using today, I've got a tiny little piece of white, and this is going to be our sentiment. In the stamp set, there are, I think, 4 different sentiments. I'm using the one that says kick up your heels, and I like to make tiny little sentiments on my cards so they don't take up too much room. So I've got this little sentiment that says kick up your heels, so we've stamped that. And now we're going to stamp some hats. So we've got hats here on our zebras. These are all options, of course, and I just chose some little tiny scraps of cardstock because the hats are super tiny. This is the stamp. A lot of these stamps are super tiny in here, so it's great for your little pieces of scrap paper that you have. So this is a small piece of Daffodil Delight, and I'm going to go ahead and use my paper snips, and I'm just trimming this hat really quickly. I've already trimmed 2 other hats, so you don't have to sit and watch me trim my paper, but I just want to show you that it is super easy and quick. You can just make some minor adjustments as you're going along, trim off a little bit here and there. Paper snips are great because they're super sharp, but here's my little hat, and it didn't take me only a few seconds to cut that out. And this is going to go on one of my little zebras here. I haven't decided which one yet. I might change up the order today, but I might not. Kind of a creature of habit. But here's our little hats. I've done one in Granny Apple, and I've done one in Highland Heather, and it kind of is going to mix back to the 3 cardstock colors that I've chosen to mount my zebras on for today. Let me set this card aside, and I'm going to go ahead and we're going to start a little bit of assembly. This is a super quick card, like I said, and it's just kind of a little introduction into the Slimline cards here. I got a little extra glue on this sentiment piece that I might not want there, so I'm going to just scrape a little bit off onto the back of that zebra, and we'll use that up later. So I'm going to go ahead and layer on my stamped sentiment onto just a little piece of basic black cardstock, and that just helps to make them matte so that it shows up better on the card. And I'm going to go ahead and add some adhesive to the back of each of my zebra pieces, and I'm going to put these onto some of the bases here that I've got going on. So there's one little guy there, and I am definitely changing up how I'm doing my card today because I'm not putting the same zebra stamped image on the same colors that I have in my original card. So that can kind of make it fun too. If you're someone that doesn't like to create something that's duplicated over and over and over, and you like to change it up a little bit, this is a great card for that. You could change the colors, you could change how your zebras are going to go on your card base. There's all kinds of options. So I'm going to bring in my card base, and we're going to just layer one of these pieces of Whisper White cardstock right over top of the black card base. So let me start with that, and we'll get this on here lined up nice and neatly here in the middle. And this is just giving us you know, like a 1/4 inch smaller size to go on the card front. And then I'm going to go with trying to figure out now here how I want to get my little zebras on here. So maybe I'm going to change up the order a little bit. I can see I started with yellow on both of them. And this is my sentiment here, and I liked it over here on the left side of my card. So I think I'm going to go with this order, changing it up. So I always just start with one of the squares. You can see I've got a little bit of a dry fit going on here. And I'm going to go ahead and put this square right there and continue onward. And we will line these little squares up. Now, if you're someone that's a very kind of perfectionist person, you could definitely get out your ruler and you know, take into consideration exactly how far you want these apart and make sure that they're straight in every manner. But I find that with enough practice in card making, I'm pretty good at eyeballing exactly where I want them to go, and I'm actually really happy with this orientation. Now on this card, I did some fun things with some little squares. You can see all these squares on here, and I made lots of different colors, and I just found that that added a little bit more, besides their fun little hats. This guy's upside down. He looks terrible upside down, doesn't he? Much better with a stamped image. So here are just some squares. These are 3/4 inch squares of scrap paper. You can see some of them might have some stamping on them because I use my scraps. They're two-sided. If I don't like what I've stamped, I have the other side to work with. So with my 3/4 inch square, all I did was take a pair of scissors and start at one corner. So I'm going to start here at the bottom. I'm going to line my scissors up straight across to the top corner, and I'm just going to do cutting in one swift motion without stopping. So just all the way up and cut that in half. So there's one that's cut in half, and I'm going to go ahead and do one more here. So again, I'm just starting in the bottom corner, and I'm going right up to the top corner and just cutting it in half. So don't take little chop scissors snips across because you might go jagged or crooked. If you try to just go one swoop up from one end to the other end, you should be able to get a really good triangle just using your paper snips or your scissors. So now we have the fun part of deciding how we want to put these on our card. So again, I might change these up a little bit. Not really sure. I did like, so, you know, I've got some kind of oranges and pinks, and then I've got a lot of blues and greens. So I probably should stick with the orange and pink in the middle because we want to kind of be a little consistent with some of our colors. But again, this is your card at home, so if you want to get crazy with colors, you can definitely change it all up. So the first thing I'm going to do is a little bit of dry fitting here and just see where I want these to go. I've got some darker colors and some lighter colors. I've got Bermuda Bay, Pool Party, Coastal Cabana, Balmy Blue, Calypso Coral, Flirty Flamingo. These are all scraps. I mean, tiny little pieces of paper, and you can get some great little things for your card using just the scraps that you might think about throwing out from time to time. But I'm telling you, if you save them like I do, you've always got paper for different crafting projects. So I'm really kind of happy with how this one turned out. I'm going to go ahead and glue these all down and get them on there really quickly. I like to use the green glue. It gives me that little wiggle room so I can move them around a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and put these on here. And then the last thing we're going to do is add on our little hats for these guys. So you can see that I have used in my corners, I've got opposite corners, I've got the same color in opposite corners. And again, if you're making this at home with whatever, you know, pattern paper, color paper you like to use, you could change it up. You could opt to not even put these little squares on if that's something that you didn't want to do. So again, there's one that has a little stamping on the back side, but when I use that side, it's beautiful. So it comes in super handy. Get rid of my little stamped image. I'm trying to be super careful to just use a tiny little bit of glue. I'm not squeezing my glue bottle too much. I just want to kind of let the glue flow out. It is open and tipped on my little container here so that it's always ready. So I just kind of rub a little glue on there without really squeezing the bottle because it does come out fast until it's empty. And then it's crazy. You got to squeeze it to get everything out of it. So here I am almost done here with my little, this is probably the most tedious part of the card. Some people like these little details and like working with the teeny tiny pieces. Again, if you're not into, you know, you want super quick stamping, stamp your images, mount it on a cute piece of colored cardstock, and go. But we are reaching the end here, guys, so thanks for hanging out with me. Got one more here in the bottom corner, and now I'm just going to add the hats on. And again, you get to decide. It's fun when you change up your colors because you get to decide who's getting what color hat even. So I'm going to put these guys on their little hats going on here. Again, just a little bit of glue on the back and put him right down there. And this guy's getting a Daffodil Delight hat. And this little zebra over here is having a Granny Apple Green hat. Wow, that was a lot of glue on that one. I'm going to take a scrap and kind of wipe up some of that glue before it all tries to glob onto my paper. My hands are getting sticky today, guys. So here is almost a finished card. We've just got to put on the sentiment here. I'm going to put the sentiment down here where it's going to be toward the bottom. So this is where I'm putting the sentiment. Not everything is going to lay flat because I've already got some extra cardstock here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dry fit my sentiment. And then I'm just going to add some glue here on these triangles where I know that the back of my sentiment is going to cover. So I'm just actually adding a little bit less glue than you would think to glue this down. But once this dries, it will be in place and it will be right there. And this is the outside of our card. So you can see I've changed it up just a little bit today with the square layering. I guess I started with yellow squares on both of them, so I must have really liked the yellow on both of these, but I did switch the purple and the green on the other two for this card. So let's do a little bit of inside stamping. So I like to stamp on the inside too. This is my first card today, and I brought in just one of the zebras and put him in the corner. So with the Slimline cards, you've got lots of room here for sentiments and writing. So I used that little zebra last time, and I think I'm going to change it up to be a different zebra this time, because again, it's fun to change things up just a little bit. So I put this little guy here in the corner and just stamped him, and it looks like, oh, I used a few of the stars. So there's a teeny tiny star stamp here, so I just added a few stars in over top of his head just for some interest. We've got a little stamp here that looks like squiggly lines, and it's great for kind of just providing a little bit of ground next to your zebra. So there's the stamping that I did. Super cute, right? And somewhere around here I probably have an extra hat because I cut out quite a few today. And I'm going to give this guy a pre-cut Calypso Coral hat. A little bit of glue there, and on it goes. He's got his party hat on. So there is the inside of my card, and I'm going to go ahead and put some adhesive on the back of this and move that one aside, bring in the one that I just created today with you, and layer this on right here in the middle. So now the inside is super cute too, right? So we got the inside and then we've got the outside. So you've got the same little zebra. And in the beginning of the video, I showed you that these do fit into a business size envelope. And I just went ahead and stamped the envelope here too, and put a little stamping on there. So this will go right inside this envelope and fit perfectly. And that is the beauty of the Slimline cards. They fit beautifully in these business size envelopes. And it just has a different feel to it, a different vibe. So it is a very unique kind of card. So everyone, thank you so much for watching me today create this Zany Zebra's Slimline card. If you'd like the card recipe with all the dimensions that went into this card, head over to my blog, themainstamper.com. I will share that recipe with you and step-by-step picture assembly. And make sure you check out that fabulous fall card that I did using this same recipe. I took some different colors and a different stamp set, and the results are fantastic and very inspirational. So it's going to show you that you can do the same. You can take this recipe and use what you have and create something wonderful. So put all of these practices to good use. Get to your craft room and make something beautiful, and then make sure that you share it with others. Come back, see me next week, everybody, for another easy card. Hope you have a good one. Bye.